Greetings grapple fans, and welcome to this, your wrap up for the UKPW special event Carnival of Carnage at the Chatham Carnival on July 9th. It was another packed out show in the Pentagon Centre where we kicked off the action with a huge return as former UKPW champion, the entertainer Theodore Powers took on relative newcomer the suplex merchant Alf Edwards. Powers' greater experience showed as he took control from the first bell, taking Edwards off his feet with a nifty head scissors before sending him to the outside to the delight of the fans in attendance. But it wasn't long before Alf Edwards' characteristic mean streak emerged as he dished out suplexes and dominated for a good period. But it wasn't to be for Edwards when Powers again leveraged his significant advantage in experience, getting back on top and putting Alf Edwards away with a big diving crossbody and an RKO. Theodore Powers makes his winning return to UKPW. Up next is Equal Rights, Equal Fights as Vicky Two Thumbs squares off against UKPW newbie Devious Danny. Both competitors had been impressive in previous showings and both looked good again here as Vicky fought valiantly against Danny's most underhanded style. Danny was in full control for long periods and thought he had the match won following a savage Ushigoroshi. But Vicky kicked out, fighting back with her trademark tenacity, until she was knocked out cold by Devious Danny's horrific facebuster and pinned for the 1-2-3, and Devious Danny's first win here in UKPW. Following on, we saw Andros J again come face to face with hometown heavy metal hero The Nail in singles action. These two had clashed recently at Festival of Fights, with The Nail taking the W and Andros clearly wanting to settle the score, charging straight in with a flurry of strikes before being forced to rethink his strategy. Jay lived up to his billing, setting the pace of the match, keeping The Nail on the back foot and scoring a couple of close near falls before his opponent seemed to wake up and deal some damage of his own. Andros J was not discouraged, but when he hooked The Nail up for his potential pedigree, a brief lapse in concentration saw him staring down the barrel of the Nail Gun DDT, and another victory for The Nail. Next up, we saw big fan favourite and inter-regional #1 contender KM Lane face a difficult challenge in the Law, Lewis Basham. Basham was hot off a victory over Devious Danny at a previous event, but he was quickly brought back down to earth by the excellence of KM Lane. Basham was clearly frustrated and couldn't find a way into the match until he managed to ram Lane spine first into a brutal squared cornered ring post, giving himself an opening to lay down the law on his opponent. But KM Lane himself had been on a run of late, and that momentum would continue here as he hit a running bulldog before finishing the job with his trademark lion salt and picking up another big win. Our next match was a tag team match as Theodore Powers made his second appearance of the day, teaming with UKPW debutante Rakin and facing off against the mathematical saviour Ventos and another debutante, handsome Jack Callahan. The match started with our two new faces in the ring, with Callahan demonstrating his brutish styles against Rakin's more technical approach. Powers then entered the fray again, using his experienced edge to dominate and frustrate his foes, before the devilish Ventos applied both brains and brawns to turn the tables in his favour, giving handsome Jack and opening to brutalise Rakim. But Powers was again the man of the hour, coming to the aid and clearing house before Rakim was able to seal the victory with a highly innovative manoeuvre, forcing Callahan to tap out. It was then time for the day's main event, the Dow Jones Invitational Battle Royal, introduced by the man himself and featuring Vicky Two Thumbs, Rakim, Theodore Powers, Fentos, Lewis Basham, Handsome Jack Callahan and Devious Danny. All these competitors had already taken part in a match that day, with Powers making his third appearance in front of the Chatham crowd and being heavily involved in the first elimination as he came to Vicky Two Thumbs' aid to unceremoniously dump Fentos out of the match. Only to be eliminated himself, as Devious Danny more than lived up to his name. The final four being Vicky Two Thumbs, Rakim, Handsome Jack Callahan and Devious Danny battled on, working together when it suited them, until Rakim suffered an elimination himself, being whipped over the top rope to the floor in quite a savage manner, leaving Two Thumbs outflanked and outgunned. Luckily for her, Danny and Callahan's brief alliance seemed to be over, and she only needed to add the deftest of assistance to Callahan to go crashing over the top rope too. This then left Vicky and Danny again face to face as the final two, with Vicky clearly determined not to let him beat her again, as she sent Devious Danny to the floor after a tussle on the apron. But just when you thought it was all over, Dow Jones slipped into the ring and tipped Two Thumbs over the top rope, securing the victory for himself. Or so he thought. Dow Jones was informed by announcer and commentator Rob Wade that UKPW management would not tolerate such blatant shenanigans, and there would be at least one more entrant to the Battle Royal. Introducing Security Ben, who quickly dispatched a clearly shocked Dow Jones to record what must be the most unexpected victory in UKPW history. This has been your wrap-up for Carnival of Carnage, a UKPW special event from Chatham Carnival. Fancy catching a UKPW live show and in the flesh? Then check out our social media for all of our latest event listings and information, and get your tickets at www.ukpw.shop. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to help fulfill our obligations to the algorithmic gods. And why not leave us a comment too, because Susan loves engagement. I've been the Big OC, Dave O'Connor. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon, Grapple fans.